Hi Dasha.
Hello.
It's great to have you back here. I know it's not your first time with us.
Thank
I hope
you.
you're gonna have
Always
a great
pleasure
time.
to be back.
I hope you're gonna have a great time as well. Again, so
Thank
let's
you.
start because it's gonna be very quick, as we know. Would you be able to define a moment, a turning point in your past, in your previous years, in which you decided I'm gonna dedicate to music and especially to electronic music?
Well, it's actually a really hard question. I never really thought about it, like what was the turning point. I mean, there was several significant events. Obviously, when I went to my first rave in Russia and discover, the amount of electronic music. Then, of course, some records that I heard before, previous to my first rave experience, obviously, which intrigued me with some, weird instrument sounds that I didn't know where it comes from. So, but like one turning point,
You wouldn't be.
I'm not sure. I think it went progressively, like my interest in the music was since the childhood, then my interest in electronic music was since my adolescence, and then progressively I suppose I built just something for myself that I actually realized I want to do that. And yeah, so it's
Yeah,
not like
makes sense.
from one moment to another.
makes total sense.
It makes, yeah.
So normally artists express through their music their feelings, their thoughts, their personal word. And listening to your music, I think you really do that. Would you say that? And do you think
Yeah.
that electronic music actually helps more to convey your deeper self, to connect more with your deeper self?
More
and to
than what do you mean? More than
compared to other music styles? I mean, would you say?
I would disagree with that. I think any music, it's very personal. It can be intellectual. It can be emotional. It can be, I don't know, physical as well.
Yeah.
But I think any music can really speak, and because it's some sort of a language. We call it universal language, but it's some
Sure.
sort of a language. And of course, artists as a filter, which absorb all the information from outside, passes through personal filter and express something somehow. So I don't think it's particularly to electronic music. I don't think it's deeper, because if you listen to Bach or classical music, it also can be very deep. So yeah, I think any music can be very expressive and very personal, and yeah.
So you travel a lot thanks to and with your music. Would you say that the places you visit affect you somehow and influence not only you as a person but also your style of music, and as Italy in a certain way affected you influenced you in a positive way and influenced your music?
I mean, obviously, every place you go, it has an influence, it has an impact on the personal development, on the way how you see things, because the more you travel, the more you learn, the more, I would say, open you are, or at least for me, it happens, you open up to things that you don't know and understand different perspectives of the people, of the culture, and so on. So, but like particularly, in a style, I can't really define, because it's such a deep process. I can't define that like that part, would influence me to that beat, or that country would influence me. Of course, there is some influence, but this electronic music is hard because it's pretty new still. There's no, like you say, okay, if I go to Africa and you go to have African beats, but then it's actually the basis of it already. So it's hard to define, particularly, by country something. But overall, of course, it has an impact. It has an influence on my person, and so far, therefore, on my music. Yeah.
I read one of your interviews that you granted to one of the Italian magazines, and something struck me a lot. What you said, you defined maybe the four cities they had an influence on you, and you compared
Sorry, I missed
you were talking about the cities you lived in during your life.
Okay, yeah, okay.
And you defined them as if they were persons. So you said Moscow was like your mother.
Yeah.
You said Paris was like your older sister. London is like an odd and a curious friend. And Tokyo, that was struck me most, is like a mysterious stranger that took you a long time to understand. Could you explain the last two, like London and Tokyo, interested the most?
It's in kind of metaphoric sense. It's just also related to my age, because Moscow. I was born, so my childhood was in Moscow. Then I left to France really, really early. So France was also having a big impact for me, and I was growing up. My adolescence, my youth passed. What I was there while my youth, and then in between those youth moments, I went to London because I had a certain romantic image of London. To be honest, I was thinking that it's a lot of poetry, great, have a sense of humans. I mean, it's present there, but the London itself actually struck me a little bit. It's pretty harsh city. It's hard to live in everyday life. Like the tube doesn't work. It's very hectic. Totally so my thing kind of collapsed into, but I still could define it as I don't know, whatever the image we could give as some sort of a friend, that maybe disappoint me at some point, to be honest. But and then of course Tokyo is a mysterious friend because the culture is so different. And the first time I went there, it was something new, something completely new, very different to European culture. Everything, the language that I didn't understand at all. So it's a mysterious friend that I would like to discover, or I did discover through the certain amount of time. Yeah. So somehow, yeah.
Last question, very quick. Who's Dasha outside the stage? Like, what do you like to do? Do you like to listen to other kinds of music during your spare time? Do you do something else? Who are you outside the stage?
I mean, most of the time I do music. Anyway, I don't think I'm very different person on the stage and at home or at the studio. I think it's the same symbiosis of things like I am with my, great sides and bad sides and so on. And what do I like to do? Music. I also like to read a lot. I like to learn things. Like yesterday I learned about some very deadly minerals.
Did you?
Yeah, I don't know. I like to discover new things that I have outside of my everyday activity, which is mostly music or some artistic, some artistic activity, whatever, performances or something, writing or. But I don't think I'm very different to, I mean, in the stage you have one part of me probably.
Of course. Yeah.
But then it's not very different. Like I don't have it's my impression. I don't know. Actually, it's hard to talk about yourself, like analyzing. It needs more time to reflect. Am I different or not? Yeah.
But you would say that you're still the same person outside.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I
believe so.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy. And we'll surely enjoy your show.
Okay. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.